Morning, Eagles here. I'm outside. I got to get my gloves on. Hold on just a sec while I get my gloves on. Can look at the sky. It's sunrise. Sunrise in Michigan. And cold. As you can tell from my face. Watched the Olympics last night and I saw a segment where they had Michaela Schifrin stand and watch this little history of her skiing. And so it showed her success at 18, winning the gold. Then it showed her failures where she didn't. And we saw her have to watch herself through all of this. What I thought was pretty interesting was after the first Olympics she was in the gold, she finished the run, she wins the gold. And it was like, well, I guess that's that. She says something like that, like, I guess that's that. This whole thing really got me thinking about life in general and our lives and some of the things we say about people or say about ourselves. Like, oh, wow, she didn't amount to much, or she never did well in the Olympics. She's maybe the best in the world, but, didn't come through when we needed her. Things like that. Maybe in your own life, you'll say to yourself, wow, is that all there is? Like, at this point in my life, I should be here. Or, my retirement counts are not what they need to be. We'll feel that we had these expectations that we haven't met, we haven't experienced. I know I go through thoughts like that with all kinds of aspects of my life. Certainly one of them is conducting. I didn't pursue that as a career. After I turned about 30, I stuck with management. It just seemed to be the right path and the stable path. And you work and come up short in an audition and don't win the job. That's a lot of expectation not being met. I can tell you that. So thinking about all of that, and even just watching this athlete, see her own story unfold. I wonder if that even affected her run. That affected how she skied. Because it's not often that you'll just stop and see footage of your own self through the years. My daughter-in-law is a skier, and her big disappointment happened when the NCAA championships, she skied for UNH. She was expected to do extremely well, if not win. And she's in Breckenridge. After the first runs, they closed the resort for COVID. And the skiers do not get to finish their competition. So this huge expectation is just gone. She was named Athlete of the Year at her college. She was nominated NCAA Woman of the Year. So this was no slouch of an athlete. And yet her senior year was pretty much, you could look at it as a disappointment. Certainly there was a great deal of disappointment. But I think that's the important thing here. It goes back to a quote I had of Thomas Edison's, where his greatest joy came not from the success of the hundreds of times he was doing experiments to create something, but it was while he was creating it, like while he was doing it. We hear this all the time, like it's not the goal, it's the process. But people argue about this. You're arguing about it in my book club yesterday. You're not arguing, but talking about it. And I think it's all of it. It's all of it. So the process that we do. Phew, I just went up a big hill, or at least big for Michigan, not for New Hampshire. But my heart's pounding. Okay. What am I trying to say here? It's like every single moment of our lives, or every day of our life, we're going to experience these little ups and downs, little roller coasters. Apparently there's a book, The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster. I haven't read that one yet, but I bet it's pretty good and pretty accurate. But that's a piece of life. It's how we navigate the roller coaster. And we may have these feelings, But while we're on this ride, if we can go on this ride and not release, I'm going to say it again, can't help it, release stress hormones, like trigger the stress response. So we're on the ride, right? And we're going up and down, but we're not triggering the stress response. Then we're going to protect ourselves and save ourselves. And if that's a value to you, that you have, a life where you're not constantly going up and down, but really, really high. In fact, I remember I was talking to a client once and I said, so this is it. The roller coaster is so high. What we're going to do with pressure free is we're going to get the wave not quite so up and down, and we're going to lift the whole thing. We're going to up level the whole thing so that your general mood and your general way of being and your health all gets uplifted. So we're going to have this. The Olympics is a great place to watch it happen. It's going up, it's going down. And I remember, a couple nights ago, one of the Japanese figure skaters, the commentator said that he had fallen all but one time on this particular jump. And then he nails it in the competition. So we have no guarantees no matter how hard we practice. We have no guarantees no matter how hard we worked. I know people who in 2000 were getting ready to retire and they had such great retirement put away and lost half of it in the 2000 slump. So you can have laid the best of plans and have these expectations, and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out. So that's about resilience. Like, how do we have the resilience we need so that we don't hurt ourselves mentally and physically? That's really, I think, what it's about. And certainly we see a lot about resilience watching the Olympics, and I am a huge fan. I actually had a moment in my life. I was a senior. I did not row my senior year. I went out to watch a competition of my teammates, and 3 of them came up to me and said, we're going to put a boat together and we're going to get sponsorships because we want to row in nationals. And would you come with us? And here I was about to launch a whole different thing with my career as a musician. I had to make this decision. It was so hard. Like, I went over their house and we talked all about it. We put all these plans together, and I'm like, I can't do that. I've got to stick to what I'm doing with music. So we make choices. But I had Olympic dreams when I was a girl. And to go to nationals rowing, that would have been pretty dang cool. So that's my thought for you today is, if you're on this roller coaster or have thoughts like that your expectations haven't met what's going on in your life, I should share this too. I haven't really shared a tool for you yet. It's really easy to start moving into a blaming, shaming way of being when our expectations aren't met. And so that's what you might notice first. You might say things like, well, the reason I didn't finish my degree is because I had to put my spouse through school, or I had to do this for somebody, or I had to take care of my parents, or like you'll find yourself kind of like trying to find the reasons why things aren't what you wish they would be. And that's a clue. And so taking just some moments, I guess the tool here is going to be to be a little introspective and ask yourself, okay, if this is what I now expect, like, what do you expect now? What do you want now? What is that desire? And what needs to change in your life, or what do you need to add to your life? A skill, a way of being even. Are you too volatile? Is that what's caused this problem for you? Then you can start to assess what is it you need to do, and you can put a plan together. So after I help my clients de-stress, if you will, then we can really move into what do you want in life, and how are we going to achieve that and move there. But it's very hard to do that if you're caught in the stress response, if things are not good, if you're in the up and down roller coaster. Whoa, I better watch where I'm going. This is not a very easy path right now. So it's a beautiful morning out here in Michigan. I hope it's beautiful where you are. I see someone from Maine. I wish you a really great pressure-free day.